The predictions about the catastrophe
As another therapy for Ebola is already being tested on Americans with COVID-19, but it's still unclear when any of these treatments will be widely available.
The State Department raised the travel advisory to the highest level 4 in its virus.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, the government's top expert on infectious diseases.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dave with Marketing Ideas for Printers, and I thank you all for joining me on today's webinar. Webinar that's dedicated to you, giving you the coronavirus resources that you as printers need to not only survive, but hopefully thrive during this really interesting and difficult time. As I was getting ready to launch today's webinar, I kept thinking, like, man, it was only a week ago from today that we started this, and it feels like forever ago in some ways. So very thankful that you have decided to join today. Few housekeeping items. First one is, someday I think we'll look at this recording and people will wonder why there's a bed in the background and on this recording. And of course, the reality of today, a lot of us, when given the opportunity, are working from home. And that's exactly where I'm at, in my home office, also known as my bedroom, with my kids have taken the prime real estate for schoolwork, and a lot of virtual stuff happening. My wife had a virtual meeting today as well. So for those of you looking at this in the future, that's why my bed is in the background, in case we forget. But that's the reality of where we're at today. Someday we'll celebrate the end of social distancing, but we're not there right now today. And going back to one of the reasons that we wanted to come on strong with these resources is your website and your marketing messages today. They have to be social distancing friendly, and that's one of the big themes that we have in these resources and in these webinars. We're going to touch on that a little bit more today. There's a lot of good news happening too, and I know it's so easy to see the media, see the news stories, and just kind of see what's going on and just really get down. At the same time, there's a lot of good news too. If we kind of look past this, and we will be able to get past this at some point. We're not there yet, but we will be able to get past this. And the good news is that what we learn now is going to help keep you strong, even after we're done with all of this social distancing, and we can get back to hugging the people we love and all that kind of thing. Another note about today's webinar, and really all of these presentations, is the ideas that we share. They're going to be appropriate for all printers. Some ideas are going to be fine-tuned for Marketing Ideas for Printers subscribers. You're going to get a little bit of that today. However, keep in mind that even if you're not a Marketing Ideas for Printers subscriber, that's all right. We're still hoping to bring lots of value to you here, and that's our intention. All right, a few housekeeping items, and then we're going to get into the bulk of that. And actually, we're going to be a little bit heavier on the housekeeping items. And one of the reasons is because we ask for your feedback. We ask for your ideas, and we turn those ideas into action. And because of that, some of those ideas have already turned into action. I want to call out a few of the more important ones and make sure you're aware of that. And so that's a little bit of the housekeeping. Before we get there, though, with some of that housekeeping, remember that today's webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on coronavirusresourcesforprinters.com. That's the screen that's up right now, and so you will find the most recent webinar will always be posted there at near the bottom of the page. Additional resources will also be posted there, including resources that we mentioned during the webinar, as well as additional resources that some of them are generated by ideas from you. There's a lot of those at the bottom. I'll call one of those out right now. Just even, I don't know, about 45 minutes before the webinar started, I got an email from one of our printers, one of our subscribers, and he said, hey, this link right here, this SBA Disaster Loan Assistance, it's a lot friendlier to use, and It's just one of those links, one of those extra go-to shortcuts that you can use as all of these efforts from our government start to become available. Well, there's one place that you might find helpful. Another housekeeping item, I'll remind you about this at the end too, is we have a survey afterwards. That's where these ideas come from. So please stick around. It takes maybe just as little as 15 to 20 seconds afterwards for you to provide us information on that survey. There's more space for you to provide additional information if you wish, but it can be really a super quick survey. One of the questions on the survey will ask for your ideas that can be shared with others, like the one that I just pointed out here. Speaking of sharing ideas with others, a favor, if I could, if you're finding value in these webinars and on this page here, please take that page and share it with other printers. If each one of you can share it with one other printer that might need to see these resources, I would greatly appreciate that. We want to get this word out, and this word is getting out. Our attendance on each webinar, our registrations for each webinar keeps increasing, so please help us do that. Let's see, what else do we have here? You can provide feedback during the webinar. There's a spot for your questions. Can't guarantee that we're going to be able to answer the questions during the webinar because we do get a lot of people showing up, but please do ask those questions. We do take the time to review those afterwards, even if we can't get those during the webinar. Remember, this whole coronavirus thing, please remember, it's only temporary. We're going to take the lessons we learned through this. We're going to come out even stronger. We will get through this together. All right, a few of those important updates now. I'm going to go to a few items that have resulted from your feedback. I'm going to call out a few of them. I'd mentioned that there's a survey at the end of the webinar. There's another survey, and I want to make sure that I'm clear on those. Those are two different surveys. One of our previous webinar attendees asked us afterwards, can you find out how other printers are doing, how this coronavirus is affecting those other printers as well? Just wanted to benchmark myself compared to other printers. And we've got that right here. So if you go down to the very bottom of the page, check out the COVID-19 survey for printers. I'd encourage you, and I actually just really ask you to go ahead and give that a click. On the page that follows, there's really two parts to it. The first part is the button where you can actually take the survey. That opens up another window and it launches the survey for you to fill out. It takes just a few minutes to do that. But then for the people that have already filled out the survey, we've got the results here and we're updating those daily. So that's a spot where you can see how are others being affected by the coronavirus pandemic. So that's a resource for you. Another resource, and this has been a biggie. We've just gotten so much feedback on this one, that this is a helpful tool for you. This was another one that had been asked for, and they just asked, can we get a little help with getting our message out to our subscribers, to our clients, to our customers? And that's what this is, this postcard right in the middle of the page. This is an Adobe InDesign file with all the graphics you need, so it's fully customizable so that you can just drop in your information there to help you get the message out. Just a reminder that what kind of a message should you be getting out? Well, that was the topic of our very first webinar, so you might want to go back up here to episode 1, and in conjunction with this postcard, what other messages can you get out there to your customers as well? And speaking of messages, that's a good point for us to transition into a little bit more about today's topic, and we're going to bring Trish into the discussion today. Trish is our tech support, the team lead for our tech supports team. Honestly, if you want anyone fighting on your side with you, you want Trish. She is a rock star. She just puts her heart and soul into it. That's all I can say. And so Trish, so glad to have you on the webinar here today with us. And we're going to start, actually, let me send the presentation controls over to you temporarily. Give me just a moment, got to log in there. There, Trish, I think you have the controls now?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, all right. So here's a part where we are going to touch a little bit on how we do it for our website subscribers. But again, I just want to remind you that the information that I'm going to talk about, this is applicable to every website. And it goes back to one of the points that I'd mentioned where we want to encourage you to make sure that your website is what I'm calling social distancing friendly, that it's ready to do business, because let's face it, these days, your website is one of your most important sales tools. I mean, it always is, but today it's just critical for that. And so one thing that I would encourage you, if you've not already done so, and this is something that we touched on earlier in a previous webinar, but it's worth mentioning again, is that message. Well, how do you get that perfect message? Well, that was the topic of the first webinar. Then where do you display that message? We'd encourage you to get that message out on your website and to kind of bring it into where we can show that on using one of our websites as an example. Trish, that's where I'll turn it over to you. You can just kind of give us a peek on how we do that on a Marketing Ideas for Printers website.
Yeah, so for our subscribers, if you haven't looked yet or have watched the previous webinar, what Dave mentioned, we've added what's called a system alert. The My Website tab under Website Settings, there's a tab here called System Alerts. And as you can see, I already have a little bit of verbiage in here. Whatever you put in here, and it can really be as long as you need it to be, and you select Update, this will show up at the top of your website. So if we actually look at the top of my Sandbox demo website, for example, the banner at the top is in red, the text is in white, so it stands out. This here is what I have as an example that talks about related to COVID-19. We are closed for our walk-in customers. However, you can still send your print jobs through the email. You can use our send a file button, or you can call our 1-800 number. Of course, this is just my example, but this is a really good location to get out about your print shop. Maybe you're not really closed, but you still are able to produce those jobs and so forth. Whatever you need to tell your customers under the system alert section, we have this available for you to add in whatever verbiage that you need to disseminate out there. This could also be used for other things such as weather closings and so forth. But the main reason right now, or what we feel would be the importance of it, is to get out your message if your print shop is affected by the COVID-19. So again, under system alerts, whatever you put in this field here will then show up at the top of your website, a red banner with the white verbiage. Another alert that you may not have used as much is right underneath it, called alerts. And what this allows you to do is to display alerts when your customers actually log into their account. So for example, I have a little blurb here about please be aware that due to governor's orders, we are closed to the public. However, you may still pick up your order, and so on. You may have an alert here. And so an example of when your customers log into their account summary, they will be able to see that alert as they log in. And I must also mention, whether it's a system alert or an alert that you set up for your customers to see on your website, you can actually drill down with this people option to a specific company or a contact. So you can actually have different companies or contacts see a different message versus what everybody else would see. So it may be helpful depending on, you have a top customer of yours that may need to see a different message when they log in. You can certainly do that drill down and present them a different message. So overall, there's two alerts: your website, and you can set up alerts so when folks log into their account summary, they would see something applicable to them in the account summary here.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Trish.
Yes.
And so very important information to get out. That's how you do it, both at the website level and even at individual levels, company branches and contacts in their account summaries as well. Another part that I'd want to touch on and really encourage printers to think about this is, obviously these are not normal times, and that means your normal shipping options may not be what you want to use either. You may want to think of something adapt to where we are right now. You might want to adapt your shipping options to include something like pick it up in the parking lot or curbside pickup or whatever makes sense in your particular case to help people feel comfortable that you're adapting to this kind of new way of doing business that's been really forced on us. And so, Trish, that'd be another one. I think, again, I want to encourage all websites, whether you're using our websites or not. That's just a good practice, is to make sure that you're fine tuning your shipping and delivery options to reflect our current environment. But here's how we do it in our websites. Trish?
Yeah. So under the accounts tab, account settings, and I'm under shipping options. Like Dave mentioned, you might have curbside pickup or a parking lot pickup. It's kind of a two-step process, and I'll go through that with you high level. We're going to add a shipping option here under shipping options. And let me go back, I'm sorry, under my website, e-commerce settings, shipping and delivery options. We're going to add a new shipping option here. We're going to call this curbside pickup. And displayed as is how your customers would see it when they check out in their account summary. And it could be the same name as the shipping option above. So I'll just call it curbside pickup. You can set other items here if need be, and you would say create new shipping option. So now you see this new shipping option has been added. Now to apply that to whether it's everybody that comes to your website or if you want to drill down, this is where you go to the accounts tab, account settings, and shipping options. And you can see here that curbside pickup option that I've added has not yet been checked. So if I go ahead and check this and select Save Changes, now everybody that comes to my website and is going through the cart checkout process, they have the option to select curbside pickup. So that indicates to me as a printer, okay, this person's going to come and pick this up and I'll just hand that to them, whether it's their back window or what have you. You know, they're not going to be coming into your print shop. So that's an option or one way that you can set up specific shipping options. Another option, if I go back under my website, e-commerce settings and shipping and delivery options again, I'm just going to add one called parking lot pickup. And maybe you have a specific customer, maybe their pickup or shipping option is going to be a little bit different than anybody else on your website. Again, we're going to create the option and then account settings and shipping options. You can actually drill down if need be and assign the parking lot option to a different customer if need be. But really the takeaway is that you can set up specific shipping options and have that available to all of your customers that come to your website to make it unique to your circumstance. So whether you're closed or whether you have unique shipping options and delivery options, you have the ability to set that up really how you need that to be set up. So we give you that flexibility.
All right, thanks, Trish. I saw one question come in. It's actually interesting because it's actually tags team with a point I was going to make is she went kind of fast. Yes, she did. That was intentional. And the reason is because we want to make sure to honor your time here. But the reason I wanted to say that right now is want you to know that if you're one of our subscribers and you need a little help with what Trish is showing you here, please get in touch with us. We are just all hands on deck to make sure you're getting the help that you need. One other tip that I wanted to offer, and again, this is applying to all printers, not just our subscribers, but to all printers, is if your customers are working from home, if they've got the bed in the background like I do here, that might be the time to look at their individual accounts and maybe increase the number of shipping options. Well, not the shipping options, but the delivery addresses or the addresses in the address book for them to select. And that's something, again, as you kind of see it scrolling behind us on the screen here, that's something that we can help with. So whether you're using our website or if you have a website that's not one of ours, I'd encourage you to take a look at that. Maybe start fine tuning the individual addresses for your customers, your clients. Make sure that they reflect their home addresses. They can add them themselves. Your customers can do that on their own. but it's an area where you can just do a little extra hand holding through these really unheard of times, maybe make it just a little bit easier to do business with you online. So I want to encourage you to take a look at that. I think that's about all that we have today. We are actually right at that 20-minute mark. So I am going to, Trish, I'm going to grab the controls back here, and we'll kind of start to wrap this up here. And the things that I wanted to share or remind you is that the recording of today's webinar, that's going to be on this page here, coronavirusresourcesforprinters.com. So today's recording will show up in this spot, and all the other resources will continue to be there. What else do we have here? Let's see. We have the ongoing list of resources, of course. That's all on here too. Most important for you, for those of you that are here, and some of you will get this perhaps by follow-up as well. Please stick around for the webinar survey. Do not confuse that with the survey that we've launched here. Do both, please do both. Launch this survey at the time of your choosing. But for now, go ahead and please stick around. We're going to wind down the webinar and ask you to stick around for the extra few seconds that are necessary for you to provide that survey. Thank you so much for joining me today, and along with Trish. And remember that we will get through this together. Thanks for attending.